Big explosion. Ukrainian drones dropped bombs on above Russian tanks and infantry as they fled. A footage, filmed by a drone, shows what appears to be a piece of Russian armor being hit by Ukrainian ordnance before Russian soldiers can be seen fleeing the area. A nearby farmhouse then appears to be hit before a second piece of armor is also hit as soldiers that appear to have been stationed in the farmhouse can be seen fleeing as well. The images then cut to what appears to be a tank burning in a forested area before the footage shows a large explosion. A drone can then be seen dropping a bomb on a Russian tank, with one of 4 soldiers scrambling into the vehicle and driving off while their comrades hang on to the top of the tank. The footage ends with a drone dropping a bomb on 4 Russian soldiers who appear to take cover as it lands next to them. The images were obtained from the 92nd Separate Mechanized Brigade named after Koshovo Ataman Ivan Sirk of the Ukrainian Ground Forces on Saturday, November 19th, along with a statement saying, "Good hunting." Cossacks of the 92nd Brigade continue to fire the Russian women. Only by joint efforts are we approaching victory. The images were also relayed by the ground forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Russian forces launched nearly 400 strikes in eastern Ukraine as part of a new artillery offensive on Sunday, according to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky said, "The fiercest battles, as before, are in the Donetsk region." Although there were fewer attacks today due to worsening weather, the amount of Russian shelling unfortunately remains extremely high. Zelensky added, "In the Luhansk region, we are slowly moving forward while fighting." As of now, there have been almost 400 artillery attacks in the east since the start of the day. Russia has reassigned troops that were in Kherson in southern Ukraine to the eastern Donetsk and Luhansk regions. The International Atomic Energy Agency, the United Nations nuclear watchdog, is set on Monday to assess potential damage to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest, after renewed shelling. The head of the IAEA, Rafael Grossi, said that the forces responsible for the shelling were playing with fire. Germany has offered Poland Patriot missile defense systems to help protect its airspace after a missile hit the NATO member last week. Christine Lambrecht, Germany's Minister of Defense, said, "We have offered Poland support in securing airspace with our Eurofighters and with Patriot air defense systems." Mykola Podolyak, a key advisor to the Ukrainian president, has said that negotiations with Russia would amount to capitulation. Podolyak labeled Western attempts to urge Ukraine to negotiate with Russian President Vladimir Putin as bizarre as Ukrainian forces have recently won a number of victories on the battlefield. He said it would be like saying that the country that recovers its territories must capitulate to the country that is losing. Regardless, 2 months after the Ukrainian armed forces launched twin counteroffensives in eastern and southern Ukraine, rapidly liberating Kharkiv and Kherson oblasts from months of brutal Russian occupation, Russian forces pushed back. But where the Ukrainian counteroffensives resulted in major breakthroughs for the Ukrainians and galloping retreats by local Russian troops, the Russian counteroffensive is a brutal, bloody slog that appears to be killing more Russians than Ukrainians. Worse for the Russians, they're not gaining significant ground. Three weeks ago, the Russians attacked west of Donetsk, the capital of the separatist Donetsk People's Republic. Their aim, to wrest control of all of Donetsk Oblast from the Ukrainians. Russian and separatist regiments and mercenaries from the Wagner Group attacked the Ukrainian garrisons in Bakhmut, Siversk, Pavlivka, and other settlements in western Donetsk. It's not going well for the Russians and their allies. The Ukrainians are fighting a very, very successful mobile defense, U.S. Army General Mark Milley, the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, told reporters on Wednesday. The ongoing battle for Pavlivka, 25 miles southwest of Donetsk, is a tragic microcosm of Russia's failing campaign. For 3 weeks, the Russian Marine Corps' 155th and 40th Naval Infantry Brigades and other forces have been trying, and failing, to pry the Ukrainian 72nd Mechanized Brigade from Pavlivka, which before the war had a population of 2,500. The Marines lost as many as 300 troops killed, wounded, or missing in just the first few days of their assaults on Pavlivka. The losses continued over the next couple of weeks as Ukrainian artillery blasted exposed Russian infantry and Ukrainian missile teams knocked out Russian tanks. Alexander Khodakovsky, a notorious separatist commander in Donetsk Oblast, described Pavlivka as a furnace for the Russian Marine brigades. The problem, Khodakovsky explained, is Marine commanders' inability to concentrate their surviving forces in order to defeat Ukrainian troops at critical points in the defensive line and achieve a breakthrough. Planning errors have led to unjustified losses with a meager result, Khodakovsky wrote. It's possible Russian forces cling to the southern edge of Pavlivka, the meager result Khodakovsky referenced. But capturing a few blocks of a tiny village isn't worth the cost of hundreds or thousands of lives in two of the Russians' few intact brigades. The 155th and 40th Naval Infantry Brigades, which at their peak strength each oversaw 3,000 troops, surely can't sustain these kinds of losses much longer. The outlook is bleak for the Kremlin as the Ukrainian counterattack gains momentum and the Russian counterattack falters. The Ukrainians have achieved success after success after success, and the Russians have failed every single time, Milley said. They've lost strategically, they've lost operationally, and I repeat, they lost tactically.